All right. We are live. We are here. Happy New Year, everyone. It is the first Boozy Book Broads of 2021. So let's cheers to that right off the bat.
Cheers. Yes.
Right. We're so excited to be here with our favorite bookstore owners, Roseanne and Marissa of Love Sweet Arrow. Yay, welcome. Obviously, we would not be here if it weren't for your YouTube page. So thank you for joining us. But yeah, so of course, to start things off tonight, I'm obviously moderating, so get excited. But I want to remind everyone to head to lovesweetarrow.com to check out info about future events, their merchandise that's available, ordering books, of course, and as well as information about their Patreon and just all the fun stuff that's coming up this beginning of the year. So a couple of things we're gonna, over the next couple of months, you're gonna see a few little minor changes, nothing major. But one of the most exciting things I think that Angelina, Melanie, and I came up with is the new position that will also be a rotating position of the room mom. And let me preface this by saying that Melanie, Angelina, and I are all mothers, so we feel very comfortable with this title. But basically, the room mom is going to kind of monitor the chat. We love our chat. I love watching the playback of the YouTube channel or of our shows, because I get to actually look through the chat and they're so funny. They're so fun. So if you do see any of us kind of looking over different screens or looking down on our phones, that's why we're not ignoring you. We're actually paying more attention to you. So yeah, so definitely remember, as always, to put your questions in the chat box. It can be for any of us, especially this month, because it is kind of a fun, we're like family here. It's all of us. Talk to us all. So if you have questions or anything like that, please feel free to put them in. So let's talk about our drink of the night, or what each of us are drinking. We had suggested champagne because it's the new year. That's what I have. I have these fancy coupe glasses that I'm really excited about.
Ooh,
yeah, so let's go. So Marissa, what are you drinking tonight?
So I'm in the process of moving, and all my wine glasses and booze is packed. So I grabbed a Frappuccino.
Nice. I love it. Yeah. Okay, let's go to Melanie. Tell us what you are having this evening.
I am a very frugal lush, and this champagne, well, Prosecco actually was 50% off. So I snatched that up, and it's a cute bottle, and I will have mimosas all weekend.
Perfect. Okay, Roseanne, let us know. What are you having this evening?
Well, I am at the store, not at home where my champagne is, but we had some things from events, so I'm having a Blue Moon. And actually, this is a cup that Melanie gave us.
Oh,
One of the cups, yes. And it says, "I'm only here for the booze." Yes.
And Angelina, what are you?
So, yay, Blue Moon.
So as always, I'm like scrambling last minute. So I poured red wine, a little bit of simple syrup, and then I put seltzer. So it looks sparkly. It looks like a champagne. We had I have a couple of texts of people who said they were trying to get on YouTube, and it's saying they can't get in. So anyway, if you've got friends and family with you, please tell them to keep trying. I've just been texting back saying, just keep trying it again. I don't know what's going on, but yeah, just keep trying and hopefully it will let you in pretty soon.
Usually you have to refresh a few times. That's why if my mom is watching, I don't know if she is, maybe she'll say hi. But anyway, I usually just refresh. Like when so I can see it, I usually I'm hitting refresh for the first few minutes. So Angelina, that's so funny that you mentioned this sparkling red wine. I have one of my best friends sent a text and was like, have you guys heard that you can put Coca-Cola in your red wine to save old old red wine? And I did it because I had this bottle that had been open for who knows how long, and it tasted kind of like sparkling sangria. It was really good.
I don't get real precious with my wine. I mean, if it's obviously it's like a $40-$50 bottle, it's like you want to take care of it. But if it's an $12 bottle, which is what I'm usually drinking. It's like, do what you want with it. It is liquor. Like, enjoy it.
So, okay, that is what we're all drinking. I see some people are putting their drinks in the comments or in the chat box. So this is a good time. I'm so excited that everyone is here. So let's get started with our shots or our icebreaker portion of the night. Oh, Melanie, what would you like to say?
Yeah, just as room mom, I do want to say that Monica had a great suggestion for anyone. Angela, if you want to tell your fans who can't get in, don't try and come through the Eventbrite, come straight to YouTube.
Okay.
I thought I fixed it.
No. We'll get it worked out. I hope everyone can get in because this is going to be a fun chat. I'm really excited for it. So let's start off with something really easy for shots. I'm going to ask everybody to tell us a little bit, not too long. The holidays were different this year, you guys, but how were they? So I'm going to just call people off and then we'll kind of keep that for the shots. We'll keep the same circle just so we get through them quickly. So Roseanne, let's go with you first. How were your holidays this year?
They were good, different.
Yeah.
Marissa lives on her own and is moving again. So she just came over in the morning and we opened gifts as a family. And 2 days before Christmas, I was able to meet my husband and I at a grocery store down in Champaign, my son and daughter-in-law. And that was we walked around Myers for an hour and a half. And then they were like, the store is closing in 20 minutes. So we can't go to their house. They can't come to our house. But if we went to the store, we were all masked. So I got to see all my kids. So that was good.
Oh, lovely.
Yeah, no, that is, I mean, you got to do what you got to do. And that sounds fun. I love Meyer also. Like I could easily walk around Meyer for an hour and a half. Like,
Yeah.
So that's awesome. Okay, Melanie, let's go to you next. How were your holidays?
Kind of a blur. It's weird because like this time feels like it's going on forever, but also flies by, and you're just like, how did like Christmas sneak up on us? How last time we were together was the last day of Hanukkah. Christmas was a week away, and it's like boom, boom, boom. Everything happened, but it was nice. It was just a family. We did not go anywhere. We did not see anyone, which is sad, but it also made for a quiet little holiday. I baked a ton of cookies, which we still have. I'm like, why do we have so many cookies left? And it's because we couldn't go and give cookies to people. So yeah. So yep, that's it.
Awesome. Okay, Angelina, how were your holidays?
It was, pretty normal. We had a long time lived on the East Coast, and all of our families in the Midwest and the West Coast. And so there's 4 of us, me, my husband, my 2 sons. And a lot of them wouldn't travel because I'm like, I don't want to get caught in an airport on Thanksgiving or on Christmas. Yeah. So we were very accustomed to the family of 4 for holidays. And so for us, because we were already acclimated to that, there wasn't a big difference. We live in a new place. We live in Houston. We would usually have parties and, but the actual holidays was always just the 4 of us. So it really, weirdly enough, was not that different. The only thing that was different is that my sons are now 19 and 22. And so they helped cook. So that rocked real hard. Yeah. So it was nice. It was quiet, lots of family time, but
yeah. Did they really do a good job? Like, are they learning or?
They are. Like, we did Blue Apron, and so they both learned to cook. And then also New Year's Eve, my parents sent me these amazing steaks, like these Kansas City steaks. So I made these filet mignons, and my oldest son, the 22-year-old, made these homemade fries.
Yeah.
Oh my God, it was so good. So yeah, there was something to being like, we were acclimated to only being 4 people, and then adults are cool. Like adult children, like they start becoming cool. I mean, Roseanne,
Yes.
That's cool, right?
Very cool. Very cool. My youngest works at Starbucks, and every time I go in, everyone goes, "Hi, Mom," and then they give me free drinks.
Free stuff. Yeah, exactly.
That'd be a perk too.
All right. Okay, Marissa, you can kind of piggyback off what your mom was telling us, but how were your holidays?
They were good. See, what usually happens with the holidays is ever since I moved out, I usually spend the 24th to the 26th with my parents in my younger brother's old room because he took my room because I had the bigger bed. So I usually spend a couple of days with them, so that wasn't going to happen this year. So I opened the dog's presents, and they were like, "Yay, toys, cool!" Ran around a fluffy bed that lady basically took over. But it was quiet. I got some reading done. I think I watched like 5 hours of diners, drive-ins, and dives. so I was like, oh, I really need to like get takeout or something soon.
Yeah.
But, I mean, it was quiet. At least I have my dogs, so I think that's been one nice thing throughout this whole pandemic thing. I'm like, I'm really glad I got dogs, because otherwise I'd be by myself a lot more.
And they're such sweet doggies. So they're adorable. So my holidays were really fun. So we have it's just me, my husband, and my daughter in our house, but we have opened up our pandemic bubble to my parents and also to his parents. And so on Christmas Eve, we had my parents and my grandma who lives with my parents. We had them over. Obviously, we have to preface all this, we were wearing masks, we were taking all the precautions and everything. But it was really nice just, spend some time even with masks, just with family. So there's that. But then that was Christmas Eve. The day after Christmas, we went up to my in-laws and did the same thing. But on Christmas Day, we were kind of like, this is the only time we're ever going to be able to do this, but we got to stay home and not have to go like a bunch of places. And so like Ivy, my daughter, got to wake up and like open presents and just play with them all day long. And then we made the decision to not make a major big meal. So we actually a few days before went to Trader Joe's and got every frozen appetizer in the store basically and just made them and ate them all day. And it was the best Christmas day. It was so awesome. It was so low key. Of course I miss the big gatherings in the family, but I have to say, like, we were in our pajamas. We watched TV. We watched Wonder Woman, which was not my favorite, but it was when we watched it, it was awesome. So yeah,
that is so awesome. I love it so much.
I think that's what we're gonna try to do whenever we have like Thanksgiving or Christmas, whatever holiday we spend, just the three of us. That's what we're doing.
Like frozen appetizers. That's my favorite. I mean, all I want to eat is appetizers anyway. So that is the best.
Yeah, it was awesome. It was so much fun. Okay, so my next shot question is something silly. I have to say, hi, Mom. I see you. You're in the chat. But yeah, something fun and silly. So as you guys know, my daughter, she is 6. She is doing remote learning. And they always do something at the beginning of class, like where they just share something. And there's this one little girl, I love her so much. She always asks like whoever is facilitating, like what their favorite color is, like without a doubt every day. Like when I hear this little girl's name, I'm like, she's gonna ask what their favorite color is. And without a doubt, she does it. It's amazing. So I want to know what everyone's favorite color is. And I would love for everyone in the chat to also tell us your favorite colors, because I just think it's so much fun. So let's run through the same order. Roseanne, let's start with you.
Pink.
Pink. Okay. Melanie, what's your favorite color?
I'm gonna have to go with sage green.
Ooh, pretty.
Like
Yeah.
a celadon.
Yeah. Angelina.
I really honestly don't have one, but my husband will say like, you wear black, gray, and beige. Like, that's it. So that must be my favorite colors.
Yeah. That's really funny. All right, Marissa, what's your favorite color?
Can I say my students ask that question all
Yeah.
the time too? And what's your favorite food?
Yeah. Or like, what did you have for breakfast? And then all of them want to say what they had for breakfast. It's amazing. But anyway, what's your favorite color?
Blue.
Blue. Yeah. And then I would say my favorite color, if you go by what I wear, it would also be like black and gray. Yeah. But my actual favorite color is like a really luscious, like teal greenish color, like really saturated, not dark, but just very saturated, like jewel tone teal.
Do you have a hero, a romance hero whose eye color is that?
No, now I'm going to have to. That's a really good idea.
Of course, thank you.
Thank you. I'm taking notes. Okay.
Taking notes.
So lots of people in the chat have been sharing their favorite colors. There's some interesting ones. So Terry said Carolina blue, Like, I'm curious what Carolina blue is. I don't think I've heard that before.
Like light blue, like lighter blue, maybe.
Okay. Yeah,
Like
I can think of peacock blue, which is almost like a teal. So like teal is my second favorite, Danielle.
Mhm.
And then we've got Robert likes purple, which I said was very regal, very royal color. And Sil says her favorite is gray. So there you go, Angelina. You guys can be in your grays together.
Are the neutrals.
Yeah.
Speaking of hero's eyes, the hero in my current book has gray eyes.
Oh, nice.
So I like gray eyes. My husband has gray eyes.
Oh, that's great. Okay, so let's go on to our next. I wanted to get at least one question in that was kind of
Carolina blue.
related.
Oh.
North Carolina. Well, now you can't see it, but yeah, like North Carolina.
Okay. So for a lot of the country, it is cold right now. I know there are some very lucky people who live places where it's not cold. Yeah, Angelina. But anyway, what is your favorite hot beverage? It doesn't have to be alcoholic, but I know that they make drinks that are like that. So I'm gonna go backwards this time. I'm gonna start, and I'm gonna say my favorite hot beverage. I love a cup of coffee. Our earliest pandemic splurge was a Keurig latte maker, so it steams the milk for me. And it's just pressing buttons. Like, it's great. So I have a latte almost every single morning, and I love it. But if I have one later in the day, in the afternoon, I have been known to put some Baileys in it. So there you go. So let's go. So Marissa, you are next. What is your favorite
I
beverage?
love drinking tea, and my brother once, and I still have like boxes of it. He accidentally ordered like 10 boxes of lemon ginger tea and then realized he didn't like it.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, I like the flavor of that. So I would say lemon ginger tea.
Yeah. Trader Joe's, speaking of Trader Joe's again, they have the best like lemon ginger turmeric tea. It's so good. When I go, I buy like 3 boxes of it, and I drink at least 1 glass a day or 1 cup a day. Angelina, what is your favorite hot beverage?
So coffee. I had been in my like early drinking days. I had thought like, I'm gonna go to a bar. I'm gonna get like a hot toddy kind of thing, and I had it, and I hated it. I hated it so much.
Yeah.
And so I don't drink anything alcoholic that's hot, but my coffee, 1 Splenda, a little bit of skim milk every day. It's like, and I will sometimes go to bed and like be excited about going to sleep because in the morning I can have my coffee. So good. So good.
I get it. That makes sense. All right, Melanie, what's your favorite hot beverage?
So if I'm gonna splurge, I like the peppermint white chocolate mocha from Starbucks.
Yum.
So yes.
And Roseanne.
Coffee, lattes, anything like that. But I do like, I get sugar-free creamers of all kinds of different flavors and keep them in the house, and those are nice. So for coffee, I like flavored coffee.
I love a good like vanilla latte. It's like my go-to. All right, so then my last shot for the evening is, I think this is so important right now, and it's actually whenever I go to an author event, this is what I ask them, and I ask like, what is your go-to self-care practice? I just think the state of the world is crazy, to say the least, but I just think it's good to get some new ideas. So I'm going to do it backwards again. So I'm going to go first, and I'm going to say 2 things. One is going to sound really weird, but I really believe that this has kept me like just going throughout this entire pandemic. But I get dressed every day. Like, I put on, and I'm going to say something sacrilegious to everyone, I put on jeans almost every single day. Just getting dressed, putting on not a whole face of makeup, but a little bit of makeup, doing my hair, having a shower, the whole thing has really just helped me keep like, okay, like I'm still going to work. I'm still, doing the whole mom thing and especially with having my daughter in remote school. It's been really, really intense, but that really has helped me. It just keeping that kind of work-ish routine is kind of, I don't want to do it every day, but I make myself do it. And I think that really is some tough love for myself to take care of myself a little bit. But then the other fun thing that I did a few months into the pandemic, I subscribed to an Ipsy beauty box. So you get like samples every month in a cute little beauty bag. And it's just so fun. Like I've got this nail polish. I don't know if you can see it, but it's like rose
Beautiful.
gold. Yeah, I got that in my last Ipsy bag. It's like $12 or $13 a month. It's, it is a little bit of that can, it's a little bit of a splurge, but I like to do that. So that has been one way I practice self-care. So who's it? Marissa, you are next.
All right, so I'm really secretly an old lady, and I crochet.
Fun.
I've been doing it since I was probably 12 or 13. I can do like a granny square. I can do some other things, but my favorite thing to do is just like go back and forth doing single and double stitches.
Yeah.
And, what I want to do, what I finally move, is get all of it out again, because I haven't been able to crochet for a while, but like it keeps my hands busy. And then I just put something on TV, like a rerun or something. And then I just sit and I just mindlessly crochet. I don't even have to look at my hands all the time. And I'm like, and it just keeps my hands busy from like, pulling at my nails or running my hands through my hair all the time. So.
Or doom scrolling.
Yeah. Like my hands are crocheting. I can't do anything else with them.
Yeah. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah. Angelina, you're next.
I really, we had, my son had come home from school early and he had a lot of issues. And during that time, I really got into Supernatural, the show Supernatural. And within watching the show a lot, there's like 300 billion episodes. So I was able to like really embrace it. But I also got into fan fiction. I kind of, fell into Supernatural fan fiction. And there's something about reading fan fiction because it's so predictable, because the characters, you kind of know what's going to happen. There's something about fan fiction that feels really safe and comforting. You're not going into a brand new world. You kind of know what's going to go on. And so fan fiction for me is really a comfort place. I know a lot of people have talked about through the pandemic how difficult it is to read, because just the emotions of not knowing what's going to happen to a characters can be really stressful. And so fan fiction for me in the Supernatural verse has been very, very comforting. And so, I really advocate for people, if you love a show, go on Archives of Our Own. It's archivesofourOwn.com. I think it's .com, or is it .net? I don't remember. But anyway, go on and find the fandom that you enjoy, the show you enjoy. And there's definitely going to be love stories about the characters you appreciate. And I don't know, there's something about knowing essentially who these people are and where they're going to go. I don't know. It's been, and there's just astonishing writing because they take a lot of risks. So yeah, that's always been my self-care for like 3 years now, and it hasn't changed.
I think that's such a great recommendation. And I want to tell people, on Fated Mates, the romance podcast hosted by Sarah McLean and Jennifer Prokop, they did an episode with Christina Lauren, they're the writing duo, Christina and Lauren, and they got their start writing Twilight fan fiction, like when that was like running rampant. But a lot of what you just said, like they talked about, like that's why they turned to fan fiction and like how they got started, and now they are the most amazing fun authors on the planet. So yeah, so I love that recommendation so much. But I also want to piggyback off that and just say, I think everyone who's here watching, and all of us especially, like reading, even when it is hard. I mean, I think reading during the best of times is like one of my personal favorite ways of self-care. So yeah. Okay, Melanie, what is your self-care?
So my self-care lately has been, I actually kind of went on a rambling discussion of this in the newsletter I sent out today. I didn't realize how I kind of rambled about it, but my exercise bike, it has a function where you can do a scenic ride. So I've been riding my bike through Italy and Hawaii and Costa Rica and New Zealand. And the video is really good. You do feel like you're like pedaling through, like an island, and you're like, oh my, like, and then of course I realize I'm in my basement in the middle of a Chicago winter. But it's good for that time that I'm on the bike. So that's definitely been something that has helped me kind of get get out of my, the winter doldrums. And yeah, I think that's probably the biggest one for me, has been that, as far as self-care goes. And the other thing is, I've not been really good about getting myself get dressed up or looking nice. That's why this is a good excuse. I have the Boozy book for us to look forward to. I need to put on makeup. I won't say brush my hair because I never brush my hair. So if I brushed my hair, it would be 3 times as big.
I love it.
But yeah, and crocheting is great. My daughter's learned to crochet this summer, so
She's made some really nice blankets. Really nice blankets. Yeah.
my mom crocheted a cloak for my daughter for Christmas.
Ooh,
Like
that's
a really pretty hunter green, like fancy Outlander style cloak. Yeah.
Oh, cool.
that's super fun.
Something I haven't done. I've done like blankets and scarves, and I have done baby hats and baby little gloves. So
That's so cute. Yeah. Roseanne, what is your way of doing self-care?
Well, so it's been hard to read through this whole thing, but the last like 2 months, I've been making myself sit on the couch and put on like a baking show that I've already watched and read. And I just literally will just sit there for at least an hour and just try to bring myself down. And it's actually working because I've been getting a lot of reading done. You know, you put it off, and then it's like, okay, we got to start reading these books. But it's been nice that I've just been kind of relax, get a glass of something next to me, even if it's water, and just give myself an hour to just read and relax. So yeah, that's been fun.
Really, yeah, like I said, that's so important, I think. And yeah, I agree. I went through a terrible reading slump pretty early on in the pandemic. And I think really it just, you have to sit down and you just have to do it and kind of like relearn. It's almost like relearning muscle memory, you know, like you just have to get back into that habit. So, okay, those are my shots. I do want to say before we move on, everyone, I know our chat is so exciting and so full of good stuff. But I do want to say if you have questions for any of us, we will get to those later on. So yeah, so let's move on to the full bottle. And we're going to start out, the beginning of it's going to start out, I'm going to talk to Marissa and Roseanne a little bit, just get some behind the scenes info of Love Sweet Arrow. And then we are going to move on to our book recommendation and like pop culture recommendation, stuff that we looked at or that we watched and enjoyed and read in 2020. But also because 2020 was ridiculous, we're also going to talk about what we're looking forward to in 2021. So we all have fun things to look at for the rest of, or at least probably the beginning half of the year. Because I feel like through fresh fiction, especially, I've been seeing stuff through about June or July at least. So we're going to keep trucking along. It's gonna be fun. I hope everyone has a pen ready. I'm going to take notes of everything we say. So then we can hopefully like send out all of our recommendations and stuff some way. So we'll figure out something with that. So Marissa and Roseanne, I was hoping you guys could tell us a little bit about the origin story of the store, maybe give us a little bit like what attracted you both to reading romance and what led you to decide to open Love Sweet Arrow.
Okay, I'll tell. Well, I mean, we both purchased things from the Red Bodice, and we were both just, it was just such a cool concept. It's such a cool store. Yay, something that is filled with books that I want to read. And then I had a tough year at my teaching job, and then Mom was like, let's buy lottery tickets. Maybe we'll win. Maybe we'll open a bookstore, a romance bookstore. That would be fun. Yeah. Well, we didn't win the lottery, and our Kickstarter didn't work either, but we still opened. Because we were like, well, this has been 6-7 months of our lives. We're too invested now to quit. We have to keep on going and do this. But yeah, so that's kind of the origins of that. But I mean, I've been reading romance since I can remember, and I've read her romances. Sometimes without her knowing, sometimes after she found out I was reading them, after she knew.
Yeah, I love it. Yeah, Roseanne, what brought you to the romance genre?
My mom. She was a big reader. I have 5 sisters, and most of us read romance, actually. So it was just something I always read.
Yeah.
And my mother never cared what we were reading, as long as we were reading. So I remember riding my bike as a 12 or 13-year-old 3 or 4 miles to the post office with a brown paper bag, and I would fill it up with books. So yeah.
God.
And then whatever she had, we would all take turns reading. But Marissa's leaving out a little bit. We didn't just think about it and just do it. There's a lot of preparation in there. Like we took a year researching in bookstores, and we joined the American Book Association, and we talked to the Leah and B a couple times. So it's really a lot of work. Yeah, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I'm still here just because I needed to be here tonight. But I mean, I leave the house because I have a day job. And I don't get home until 7 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
And I leave the house at 6:15. So it's long days. It's a lot of work, even though we're closed 3 days now because of the pandemic. I'm still here.
Yeah.
We have someone that comes on Tuesdays and tries to get the packages for us. And Tuesday's a big book release day. So then I'm here putting all of them in my system, putting out orders. And then Wednesdays I'm here. Marissa's usually here with me too. So it's a labor of love, but it's a labor.
So neither of you had experience like in retail or anything before this?
Kind of, because I did do retail early in my marriage, and then I quit my job to stay home and raise my kids. But my husband and I own business, and he's still like a very big entrepreneur. So he was like, just do it. Just do it. Just do it.
That's
and he's like, how much money, when the Kickstarter didn't work, about do you think you would need? So between him and other family and friends, that's what we started with. So we started on a dime. Seriously. We haven't had to take out any loans, but we're still just running on a dime. Neither of us pay ourselves for the store. We both still work full time. But I think we're pretty close, Marissa, don't you think? Because we work together all the time. I mean, the barber next door.
I thought you meant close.
A little.
Like we're close to paying ourselves. Yes, we're close. I was like, I don't know.
I don't know. I will see. I think I'm retiring my day job at the end of the school year so that one of us will be here full time next year. Whether or not I'll get paid for it, we'll see.
Yeah.
Patreon. Come on, guys. Give us to Patreon. Invest in the store. Remember, buy a bookshelf.
So Robert was saying that, he really thanks you for opening Love Sweet Arrow, and that how much, he's appreciated the events that have gone on this past year and for making his shelves overflow.
Yes. Robert is great. We love Robert. I email Robert on a regular basis. You got some books coming, Robert?
That's awesome.
What's in there, but they're coming.
That's what indies do. Like that connection with readers, you can't get that anywhere else. And I did want to jump in really quick, if that's okay. That there's a question from the Book Voyager, and she actually, this is a great question. If you can't answer it off the top of your head, we can come back and answer it in the comments later. But she wants to know, like, while the world was on fire last year and everything was a catastrophe, what was the book that people were ordering a lot from the store? Like, what were people reaching for from you guys, from your store?
Well, we sold a lot of The Boyfriend Project by Farah Roshan.
Okay.
I think at one point that, I think the month after it came out, I think it was our top seller.
Yes.
So,
we did some big pre-orders last year. We did with Kit Roca. Am I saying that right? Yes. So we did a pre-order with them, and then we did one with Alexis Daria, which was a huge thing. We were, oh God, she's wonderful. So we sent all of them shirts that say Love Sweet Arrow. Yes. So, I mean, those were big sellers, but those were big sellers because we had the pre-order specials. But yeah, Boyfriend Project, we on a regular basis, we sell a ton of Bev Jenkins, Alyssa Cole. And whenever the new releases comes out, we're usually pretty good with those. Yeah. What do you think, Marissa? Yeah.
Yeah. I just, that the Boyfriend Project 6, and because during the month of June, I remember like looking at everything that sold. I remember that was one. But I think there was a Beverly Jenkins backlist that we sold quite a few of as well.
Yeah, Marissa's big on getting her backlist. We have a a lovely lady named Brittany who helps us on Fridays. And at one point she was moving things around and Marissa's like, that shelf is not all Beverly Jenkins. Who did that? I'm like, Brittany did. I'll talk to her, I promise. We weren't mad, but Bev needs
No. I thought a customer did it. And I was like, home boot. Because I was really proud of it. I had no idea she did it and totally not mad. I like honestly thought a customer did it. I'm like, why are they moving my shelf? We love you, Brittany.
We love you, Brittany.
So you guys, you kind of answered this a little bit, but do you want to give us kind of a little bit of an update on stuff that's going on at the store, or just anything you would want your potential customers to know, or one day when everyone who from everywhere on the chat can come to the store and say hello in person?
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. What do you want them to know?
My goal is that we open up for events in the summer.
Yeah.
Fingers crossed.
Even if we're masked, but most people have had their shots. Like if you feel comfortable and you want to wear your mask, then you can wear your mask. But that's my goal. There's a lot of things coming up, but I'm a blabbermouth, so I'm not going to talk about those things. But can I just say that we have book plates for Salika Snyder's new book, Snyder.
Great.
So if you want to pre-order that book, you will get a book plate.
Yeah.
Signed book plate.
I can put that out there, right?
Yeah.
You
Definitely.
can. It's coming out next week, I think, isn't it?
Yes.
The 26th.
Is that next week? It's close to it.
I mean, no, this is Jana Feba, whatever.
Yeah.
March 2020.
It comes out soon. At some point, it'll be out. Okay.
I want to share something else with you real quick.
Oh, yeah.
Someone called us the other day, and I can't say who it was. And I kind of fangirled on her, and she was just like, okay. I'm like, no, you don't understand. We're still fans. Like, we have this bookstore, but when you guys contact us, we're like, oh my God. I'll say to Marissa, you're never going to believe who emailed me today or who called today. And the two of us are like, oh my God.
Yeah.
So please contact us.
Roseanne, you had posted on the Wicked Wallflowers Coven something about that, about how you feel so much hesitation from authors, and yet you're so grateful and pleased when authors contact you. And it literally inspired me. I think my second book was coming out, and it literally inspired. I was like, stop feeling unworthy. And I literally inspired me, like, put together all of these events. One of the events I put together was the event with me and Melanie and Danielle moderating at Love Sweet Arrow, because of that post that you said, book people want to hear from you as much as you want to connect with book people. And it was hugely inspiring. And literally, I think that what led to me doing a bunch of the events with the release of my second book, which was the iteration of Boozy Book Fraud. So that was hugely helpful to hear from you.
Yes. And I have a horrible memory. So I'm just putting that out there. So I always try to email or catch up on my emails twice a week. So I try not to forget anything. But as I scroll a lot and I watch, I see all these ladies and these covens and stuff, and they're all like authors. And I'm like, come on. You know what I mean? I'm not going to approach you, but if you have a book and you want to talk to me about it, contact me. I might say no, because I have said no before. And I hate saying no, but if I read the book and it's really, really bad, I'm not going to tell you that. I'm just going to say, we're just not going to carry you right now. You know what I mean? Or like I've said to people, have you thought about joining the RWA? Like get a partner that will read your book, and give feedback, because that's really can't come from me, but so contact us.
Yeah.
If I haven't gotten back to you, I'm gonna try. I promise. So yeah.
And that, I think that would be like my update is we appreciate how much patience everyone has with us, because we're both doing day jobs and the store, and I mean, just coming as someone who's teaching during this pandemic, it's just I get off Zoom, being on Zoom all day, and my brain is fried. And sometimes I just can't look at another computer.
And I
So
just feel like there's so much more we could be doing, so that hopefully when I'm here full time next year, we have lots of ideas and people come to us with things, but we're just limited. I feel really bad about that, but I do feel like we're a little limited. Like we're doing as much as we can, but sometimes like one month we had like 7, and Marissa's like, please don't plan 7 Zoom events next month. It's too much work. And I'm like, I'm sorry. I have a hard time saying no. So maybe I should tell you to contact
That'd
me.
be me, because I would be like, here's another one. Let's do another one.
I know. Maybe you should contact Marissa because she's better about no than I am.
But
In a
Roseanne,
nice way.
I mean,
She has
it's
boundaries.
like,
Good at
how
it.
few people are advocating for romance? How few bookstores are advocating solely for romance? You might think like, I'm not doing enough, and yet you're doing the yeoman's work of, so few. There's not very many people do it. So it's so funny because that's the same thing when you become published. When you become as an author, you're like, but I haven't reached X, but you've still gotten to a place a lot of people haven't gotten. You're still doing so much amazing work for the romance community, so I understand your thought, but I just thank you. We at the romance community are incredibly grateful for the work you're already doing and juggling 2 day jobs. It's amazing.
Yeah, 2 day jobs in schools. Marissa is a teacher, and Roseanne, you work at a school. And one thing I have learned with a daughter in remote schools, I am not a teacher, and I know so I'm very grateful for all of the work that you two are doing. I mean, the amount of work that I know that has gone in, and just personally, Marissa, I know what you have been going through. So yeah,
Thank you for being that sounding board for her, Danielle. No pressure on me when she has friends that she can share with too. So.
Well, I just want to say, it's like knowing, I very much appreciate that the effort that parents have been putting in to help their child be successful. And I mean, I say this all the time, like, we're a team, we're getting through it together. We can't really do it without each other. So
In fact, one of my questions later is, what have you learned about myself in 2020? And that is my answer. It's that I'm not a teacher. And my daughter would come up here and tell all of you that too. So, okay, so let's move on. We're gonna move on because we're gonna go over. I think we know that we're gonna go over, because now we're getting to like the fun part. We're gonna talk about all of the books and pop culture and things that we loved and that we're looking forward to. So, in fact, my first question though is, what did you learn about yourself? So I'm going to go ahead. I'll say I started and said that I'm not a teacher. But so Melanie, what did you learn about yourself this year?
Did you ask me?
Yes. Sorry. Yeah.
I learned that I'm a cranky bitch. So I learned that like I need alone time. Like I need time by myself. And I was a stay-at-home mom. I did the thing where my kids went with me to work. When I worked as an instructor at like a gymnastics place for little kids, my girls were there with me. So I'm used to being surrounded by my kids 24/7, but this no break. So I realized with my husband and my children have been work from home, school from home since it's almost a year now.
Yeah.
And there's never a break. And for me, what I was realizing is like, I just want to be alone. Like, I just want to go away. And I realized it's because during the day when I had 6 hours to myself, when the kids were at school and the husband was at work, and even though I was if I was doing other chores or doing other things, my brain was able to process what I had been working on, book wise. Mm-hmm. So it was those processes have come to a screeching halt because that stuff can't be happening when everyone's popping in what's for dinner? Hey, can you help me with lunch? Hey, Wi-Fi is down. I realized mama needs to be alone.
Yeah. No, I completely relate and agree. Roseanne, what have you learned about yourself this year?
Melanie stole my answer.
That's amazing.
I learned about myself.
Yeah.
I learned that sometimes I let people take advantage of me, and I'm trying to stop doing that.
That's a good one.
That's
Yeah.
really, yeah,
Yes, yes.
I like that.
I used to always do everything that they asked me at my other job, and now I've started to say no.
Good.
You know, and I already told my boss that I'm going to retire at the end of the year, and she's like, "Really? Yes, yes, I'm going to retire at the end of the year. I don't know how I'm going to pay for my insurance yet, but I'll figure that out.
Yeah,
It's time."
that's good.
Yes. Yeah.
I love that. Angelina, what did you learn about yourself in 20? I should say in 2020. This year has just started.
Yeah. 20, I think I really figured out how adaptable we as humans are. They're like, okay, we're in a pandemic. Okay. People, you hope more people wearing masks. People wearing masks. We don't go places. I feel like we're weirdly malleable in a weird, strange way. And that surprises me. I'm very set in my ways, and I've been pretty malleable through all of this. I also have really fully embraced how important my writing is to me. In the midst of 2020, I moved houses. I sold a house. I moved 1,000 miles away from the place I'd lived 20 years. And through all of that, I had a book due. And that book was not a chore. That book was my escape. That book was all of that escapism and beauty and and romance. So it's romance, it's sensuality. All of that was this beautiful place I got to live in while the world was very chaotic around me. And so it made me fully realize and understand and appreciate that this was the profession I'm supposed to be doing. And this is my happy place. Because even in the midst of a pandemic and things going crazy, this is where I'm most happy. So it allowed me to really, it allowed me to really see that and appreciate that.
That's really important. I really appreciated that answer. That was really great. Yeah. Marissa, what did you learn about yourself in 2020?
Well, just to let you know, if you keep hearing this sound, I'm trying to get Brando quietly to stop going. That's a start before he starts barking. Yeah. So I already do that, so that's not something I learned. I think like I'm more of an introvert, and so I'm not a touchy-feely person, but I definitely learned that you kind of miss that physical touch every once in a while, and just having being able to have someone pat you on the shoulder or give you a side hug or just to see someone's face, just because I lived alone. I just have my 2 dogs. So Zoom is pretty much the only way I actually see someone's face these days. So that'll change in a couple of weeks when I go move in with my parents for a month, but then it'll change back again.
I'm excited she's coming home for a month, but whatever.
But I think it kind of reminded me that I need that sometimes, and not having it has definitely I didn't really think about I like my alone time, I like to be by myself, and I'm after the month of March, so I was I want to talk to someone. I want to okay, and now we're hitting a year now, and I'm
wild.
Hurry up with that vaccine, please. I want to start seeing people's faces again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Angelina, don't think you have to tell us who your visitors were.
Who, mine?
Yeah. Who just came in the room?
No, usually I have my headphones in, and so you can't hear, but my husband and my son brought me dinners, and they brought me this. I was like, you're my favorite people in the world. They brought me queso. I don't know what kind of award they're trying to win right now, but they won it. Whatever it is, they just won that award.
What were they up to that they were we need to bring?
I can't eat queso in front of the Boozy book presentation, so it's just going to get there cold in front of me.
That'd be a little messy.
Okay, so now we are going to move on to our favorite books of 2020. Let's try to keep this, simple, like just 2 to 3, everyone, and don't tell the whole plot. So, yeah. So Marissa, let's start with you.
Okay. I think, well, it was all the way at the end of 2020, but I really loved How to Catch a Queen. I like something about, I don't know. It's hard to explain, but I just, like the idea of like this woman and she's like, I'm going to be a queen. And she does it. There you go. Like, I'm going to be a queen. She does it. Like, we all need to have that kind of confidence. Like, I'm just going to walk in and be like, I'm in charge. Look at me.
Yeah.
And then she ends up staying. Sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry, I totally just spoiled it. I apologize.
No,
I swear,
It's
there's
not
no
it's okay.
alcohol in this. It's been a long week of Zooms, and I'm just kind of like getting slap happy right now. It's not a book that came out in 2020, but I reread A Wedding One December by Tracy right before Christmas, and I was so glad I did because her book is just such a great exploration of character. Because the whole series is about two people that meet and fall in love in one day. And so it's just, and so you really get to, she delves into these two people in each book in the series. And they kind of, in one, Wedding One December, they kind of like go through all their baggage in a really like healthy, positive way and kind of learn to move on from the past and fall in love. And it's closed door, but it's pretty steamy, I think, for, that kind of book. But I always, ever since I read it, I try to reread it every Christmas. I do.
Yeah.
That's nice.
Okay. Angelina, why don't you go next?
So it's funny trying to think of books and trying to give like okay, books that came out before November, because those immediate books. So Sanithia Williams did this book, Forbidden Promises, was the beginning of a new series, and it was a tobacco family, and Forbidden Promises was about a younger sister falling in love with her older sister's ex-husband, which I just love, like fantastic premises and over the top and just big bombastic books. And that's what this book was. I mean, tobacco family, and just like how difficult it is to get your head around the younger sister going for the ex-husband. And she did it beautifully, and it was hot, and it was just, I just love big family, over the top drama. So I love that book. Sanithia Williams, Forbidden Promises. And then Adriana Anders, Whiteout, she put out this phenomenal romantic suspense book. And then it was like crickets. And then the end of the year, like best of lists come around and everybody's talking about it. And it was one of those things where I was like, I bought it on Audible and I was like, this is such an amazing book. But then no one was talking about it. And then like November 15th came around, all the best of year, and she was on all of them. Adriana Anders has got she's just such a good romance writer. She has such beauty, her prose, the way she writes. And then, romantic suspense in 2020, you're like, who wants to do that? The thing is, romantic suspense is about the world we don't live in. And it's just very, very, very fast paced. And a lot of like things happening. And for me, it was like perfect escapism. Like, it's why I still enjoy true crime during 2020. It's like, give me a world outside of the world I live in. Like, and that's what her worlds are. She's very fast paced, big stakes, super hot scenarios. And so Adriana Anders, Whiteout, and then Mia Sosa's Worst Best Man was just such a good, and I am not generally I'm not a rom-com fan because I love angst. I love my angsty heroes. Her hero in this he's so hot, and he's so like falling in love with his brother's fiance.
Angelina, you love the soap opera stuff.
Oh my God. I don't read romance because I want to read about real life. I read romance because I want to escape.
Like, all the family drama.
I like, just give me, I want left of center. And he's so hot. I love him so. I can't remember his name, but it's so good. And knowing Mia Sosa personally, and she said this book was really hard to write. And I love when an author has to like really struggle to write a book and it turns out so good. I mean, that's a very personal thing because
worth it. Yeah.
Hard to write.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, those are my 3.
Awesome.
I took way more time than I was supposed to.
No, that's fine. No, 2 to 3, 3 max. I'm going to cut people off. No, I'm kidding.
Do that. It's like the Grammys.
Roseanne, what were a few of your top 20 book or favorite top books from 2020? Oh my gosh.
Top 20? Are you sure? Well, I have to tell you, one of my favorite books is You Deserve Each Other by Sarah Fogel.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yes. And it was because it was so angsty and they were doing things to each other to try to get the other one to break up the engagement because neither of them had the balls to say, we're not going to get married in 3 weeks.
Yeah.
And it's so like, I've been married for a long time. So I was like laughing out loud, the things that they were doing to each other. Well, of course they get an HEA at the end, but that to me was just such a good book. And I really felt sorry for his mom because the two of them together were going to make her life hell after the end of that book. And I did like The Roommate a lot by Rosie Danon. That was, I read the next one. Oh, it's so good. So good. Okay. And then my third choice would be Sweet Talking Lover by Tracy Livesay. That was so good. The hammock scene. Come on. That's all you need to say.
Oh, is it Sweet Talking Lover?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I'm thinking of the first one.
Yeah. Nope.
Yeah. I want to say, I am taking notes, so we'll figure out, maybe we can put together like a Boozy Book Broads like recommended list and maybe send that out to like your newsletter subscribers. Maybe people should subscribe to the newsletter to get this list. It's an exclusive.
That's a great idea.
And that's because I haven't sent one out since like right after Thanksgiving.
Well, in a previous life, I worked in PR and I had that thought go so that's really what just happened. Melanie, what were some of your favorite books from last year?
I'll keep it short and sweet. Beach Read by Emily Henry. And I listened to this on audio. A lot of my reading this year has been strictly audio. That has been a way to get my eyes off screens and my head in a different place. And the narrator, who I can't think of the top of my head, but Whalen, I think. Julia Whalen, I think, is that her name? Yeah. She does a ton of audio, and she's amazing. And so Beach Read, and then You Had Me at Ola by Alexis Daria was so much fun. And this one did not come out in 2020, but I read it, and it's Don't You Forget About Me, and she's Scottish, and I cannot pronounce her name, but the last name is McFarlane. Okay. And it's Mary, Mhari is her first name, McFarlane. And Don't You Forget About Me was lots of fun. And then I also listened to that in audio, and it was great because it was a very, British accent reading it, and really added to the color of the story. And the sisters reminded me a lot of the sisters from Fleabag.
Oh, fun. Yeah. So I want to piggyback off of Roseanne's recommendation of The Roommate. Rosie, of course, was our first Boozy Book Broads guest after we did our Books and Booze event. So yeah, I definitely want to give her a shout out because her book was just it was so fun. And it was like, really, it was feminist and it was so sex positive. Like, even though, I think romance is a pretty sex positive genre. I don't know what it was. Her book just like pushed it to the next level. It was really, 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 and it was also funny. It was so great. And then another one I want to mention is Take a Hint, Danny Brown by Talia Hibbert. It was just, they both were just so, both the hero and the heroine were just so like, they were like fully rounded people, and they clearly, they could have been fine on their own, but they were just so much better together, and it was another, I was searching for like really light, funny reads. And I mean, there's still a lot of feelings, especially in Take a Hint, Danny Brown, but it's just, yeah, it's one of my top reads. I mean, Talia Hibbert all the time is like one of my top reads. And also she's like in her mid 20s. So she's going to have a very long career. Like I'm so excited to see whatever she does next. And then I also want to mention a book that I think has been criminally underrated. It's called Confessions in B Flat by Donna Hill. It's a historical romance that takes place during the civil rights movement. And it's Black romance. And the hero in the book, he's from the South, but he is a follower and supporter of Dr. Martin Luther King, which is quite fitting today, since today is his actual birthday. But then also, and then he goes to New York to set up like a New York office for the Dr. King movement. And he meets a woman who supports Malcolm X. So they have, it was really interesting because they have the same goal, but they have different ways to believe to get to that goal. And it was really wonderful. It was really lovely. Donna Hill has been writing for a very long time. She is a romance, not just a Black romance pioneer, she's a romance pioneer. So I highly recommend Confessions in B Flat. Okay, so let's switch gears a little bit and talk about some of our favorite pop culture. So again, let's go with, 2 to 3 things. Pretty simple, more, don't give the plot away necessarily, but just talk about what you loved about this thing. So we're going to do the same order. And so Marissa, you're going to start us off.
Well, I think it was right after one of our, I think it was right after our holiday romance event in December. Like I finally was like, okay, I'm going to watch Schitt's Creek. Yay. Finally did it. And I'm like halfway through the 5th season because I keep stopping and I don't want it to end. But I finally understand all of everyone's references now. So I'm like, yay, I'm part of the group.
I think when you finally started watching it, I really was like, finally. I've been telling you for probably a year to watch the show. So yeah, in fact, that was on my list. I'm going to jump in and say, yeah, I'm rewatching it right now with my husband because I started watching it on Netflix and he hadn't seen it, and so now we're watching it, and I was just like, oh, the show is so
that's
good.
hilarious because I have not watched the last season yet because I'm making my husband watch the first 4 seasons with me, and he was like, I don't want to watch it. I'm not interested. No, I'm not watching it. And finally I made him start watching it during all the bonkersness that was going on where we were glued to our TVs, and while we were waiting for that count to happen, we all know what I'm talking about. He started watching it, and he watched like 4 episodes in one night with me.
Awesome.
He's hooked now. Sorry, go ahead. Go Marissa.
Continue.
My next thing would be Nadia Hussain's Time to Eat.
Yeah.
I loved it. And I don't understand how there's only 6 episodes or 7 episodes. And it basically the show is all about how she's trying to find people like little cheats to make cooking quicker, more efficient, and more so they can spend more time with their family. So she always starts baking, and then she finds someone to help them. And one was like, a mother who just, took in a family member. And then there was one about a husband. He was like, my wife just had a baby. Yeah. I want to make a cake for his first birthday, so she doesn't have to do it.
He was the Great British Bake Off winner.
Yes.
Yeah.
And all her outfits are so colorful.
Beautiful.
And it's just, to me, it was just like, it was, I watched it during the beginning of the pandemic. I'm like, this is just making me so happy. Yeah. There needs to be more. So BBC, please make more. Because I want to watch more. So that's my 2.
Yeah. I love it. I echo that. I mean, and every sweater she has, like for someone who wears all black all the time, I would wear those sweaters. Like they're so cute. Yes. Yeah. So Angelina, what was some of your favorite pop culture from 2020?
2020. So I watched a lot of Supernatural. So Nielsen just put out their most streamed shows of 2020. So Schitt's Creek was number 4. So most streamed hours was Schitt's Creek by 4. And number one was The Office, which is just so random,
Yeah.
but like 50 billion streams. But number 7 was Supernatural. And that's how obsessed I am with this show that I like follow on Tumblr. So I watch a lot of Supernatural. I read a lot of Supernatural fan fiction. The thing that was just a big surprise to me in terms of pop culture 2020 was the Apple show Ted Lasso. It's and I talked about this during Rosie Dannon's show, but it's the least. It's a show you watch the preview and you're like, it's about an American who goes to Britain to coach a soccer team. It's an American football coach who goes to Britain to coach a soccer team. And you're like, how invasive and stupid is that? It was filmed with so much good intention and so much heart. And the people in the show have so much like love for humanity and each other. If you want to watch a show about like brotherhood and to give you hope, like I watch it every single time people do dumb shit that shows up everywhere on social media, because it literally gives me hope in humanity again. Like it's the most beautiful show. So Ted Lasso. And the last thing is like that HBO Max has all of the DC universe. I got into animation super hard. I don't know what that was, but Harley Quinn, the Clone Wars, that's Disney Plus, and Gravity Falls. Like animation has it can take all of these chances. And again, I think that's a romance thread, is like taking crazy chances and doing a lot of weird stuff, and animation's doing that. So Harley Quinn, like if every lady should be watching Harley Quinn right now, because it is crazy and awesome, and they curse a lot. Like when was the last time you saw cartoon characters curse? They do a lot. It's awesome. So yeah, that was my thing.
I was gonna say Ted Lasso, actually, a lot of people say if you love Schitt's Creek or you love shows like The Office or like Parks and Rec, they're like Ted Lasso is kind of in that similar vein, and that's on Apple TV Plus, right?
It's on Apple TV Plus. You're right. Yeah, okay. Apple TV Plus. Yeah, no, the way it like feeds your soul is crazy for like this stupid, really stupid premise. It's such a good show.
Awesome. All right, Roseanne, what was your favorite pop culture of 2020?
I'm so bad. Well, I haven't finished Schitt's Creek, but I'm on season 6. But I like Marissa. I don't want it to end. I know how it's going to end. And I just saw Alexis and Ted at the last season. So that's I know.
No spoilers.
No spoilers. No spoilers. That's what I just said. Alexis and Ted. And I've been watching The Crown lately. I'm to where they're treating Diana like shit. So yeah. But see, I was kind of like, I was in high school when she got married to Princess Charles. And when she died, my youngest is 24 now, and he was a baby, and I was up in the middle of the night nursing him, and so I was watching her funeral. So to me, you know what I mean? That's kind of my era. So
yeah. Yeah, like, so I haven't watched The Crown yet, but this latest season, but I think it's because, and I'm having trouble like wrapping my head around it, because it's like, we know how this ends with Diana in particular. And so, but I mean, I'm going to watch it. I think I need to be in the right mind frame for it. So, but because I've heard it's amazing, like how they've done it. It's real juicy and real amazing. So cool. Thank you for those
episode, because skip the fog episode, because it'll give you flashbacks to right now. It's like they can't breathe, and then they all die.
Oh no, I've seen up till this past, like I haven't watched the current season. So yeah, I know. No, that episode was like, I was like, why don't people talk about the fog? Like, why didn't I know this happened? Like,
yeah.
So okay, Melanie, what was some of your favorite pop culture?
Who's that? Because the camera will focus on you if you don't.
Sorry. But yes, The Mandalorian. So last year, when the first season of Mandalorian came out, I was too buried in deadlines to look at it, to think about it. So this early in the fall, we binged the first season, and I was I was hooked. I was like, I get it. I understand the Baby Yoda fever. Like, I fell in love, and I'm a little obsessed now. If you follow any of my social media, I've bought, if it has Baby Yoda on it, I'm buying. So I love The Mandalorian. And the thing about, so I'm a hardcore Star Wars fan, if you can't tell by the room I'm sitting in. But it really was such a great, kind of callback to the originals, to that feeling of kind of this soap opera, sci-fi, Western combo, and how they played into that with the way the camera shots were set up, with the way the characters are built up. And there were so many like Easter eggs about the history of the show. I think I might have talked about this before. I'm not going to go into a Mandalorian, rambling diatribe about how much I love it. So Mandalorian, yeah. So the other thing that I really liked was the trend of seeing romance novels and romance series getting treatments in mainstream media. So not just Bridgerton, which is all the rage right now, but there was also Sweet Magnolias and Virgin River. So all of these romance novel series we're starting to see them come into the mainstream. So they're not just on passion flicks or on, they're not kind of being relegated to their own thing. They're coming into everyone's homes. Everyone has access to them.
Yeah.
And they're romance novels, people, whether you know it or not.
Yeah.
So I want to see more of that. I'm hoping to see more of that. So that's exciting.
Yeah, I agree. I love when, no matter how many times someone will say, and Stacey Abrams writes romance novels, and there's always a person like, what? She does what? And I'm always like, yeah, like it's usually like in her byline, not in her byline.
And she doesn't hide it because she's that woman, badass bitch, man. Like she's just.
I love her.
No, I actually have had, I have a speaking engagement in February because people reached out to me and said, romance has gone mainstream.
Yeah.
Tell us about that. I was just like, okay. But that it's Bridgerton and Stacey Abrams and all of that is, we've gone mainstream, and it's phenomenal because I've been a romance fan for 20 years and I never thought that was possible.
Yeah. So I'm going to take a little bit of a different route. I'm going to talk about two podcasts that I really loved this year, because a lot of what you all have mentioned, I also love. So the first one I want to talk about, I've mentioned on Boozy Book Broads in the past. It's called the Black Romance Podcast. It's hosted by Julie Moody Freeman. She's a professor in Chicago, in like an African-American studies department, but basically she's been interviewing Black romance authors, everyone from Beverly Jenkins and Brenda Jackson to like Alyssa Cole and Rebecca Weatherspoon. It's a really just, if you're interested in romance in any way, shape, or form, it's such a great podcast series. I think it's on hiatus right now, but I know she's planning on making more. But the one that I think I talked about specifically was she did a 2-part interview with Vivian Stevens, who was the founder of RWA. And we all know what happened with RWA in 2019 and throughout this year. And the award that RWA gives out for various books over the year, that everyone votes on and everything like that, has been changed from the Rita, which was named after another person who was early on in the organization, but it has been changed to the Vivian, which like gives me chills every time I think about that because it's so deserved and it was so necessary. So that is the Black Romance Podcast. And then the other podcast I want to talk about, it's called Newcomers. It's hosted by Nicole Byer, who's the host of Nailed It on Netflix, and also another comedian named Lauren Lapkus. And basically there are 2 seasons, but basically they go in and they watch something from pop culture that has a huge following, but they have no idea. They've only heard of it. They've never like watched any of it or paid attention to it. And so the first season was they watched all of the Star Wars movies and like all of the show, like not every single episode of The Mandalorian and the Clone Wars, but they watched some of them. And they have fellow comedians usually come on who are also obsessed with Star Wars. So that was the first season. It was amazing.
And this is a podcast?
Yes, it's a podcast.
Okay, so my youngest like worships it's Danielle Byer. Is that
Nicole
her?
Byer,
yeah. I'm planning to Nicole. Right. She like that's her icon on Netflix because she loves her so much.
Yeah. It's so funny. And then the second season, they watched like all of the Lord of the Rings, like all of the Hobbit movies, all of the old animated ones. You've got to watch it. It's called Newcomers. Everyone listen to it.
Danielle, have you listened to Why Won't You Date Me?
Yes, it's so funny. She's amazing.
So Nicole Byer did her first podcast was Why Won't You Date Me?
Yeah.
Where she interviewed people that she had had a relationship with or sex with, and why didn't they pursue a long-term relationship with her? Which that level of like boldness and audacity is just how can you not love somebody like that? Like, no, I literally listen to that podcast. I'm like taking notes for books. Like, this person who just puts herself out there. Why won't you date me?
Yeah.
Like, oh my God. Yeah, she is someone to revere.
Yeah. I'm gonna write that one down too, because
that's funny. Because when I was googling Nicole Byer podcast, that was the one that popped up first.
Yeah, that's what she know. I listen to it every week. Like, and she literally, I mean, and the people are like, they're very honest with her about like, why won't you commit to a relationship with me? Could you imagine? Could you imagine? Like all of your past loves and asking them, like, why didn't you love me? Like, oh my God.
Yeah. So now let's move on to this. I think is probably the most exciting part is what are some of our anticipated reads for 2021. So I'm going to go first this time because you all took my pop culture recommendations. So I'm going first. My first one comes out in March. It's Act Your Age, Eve Brown. I just talked about Dani Brown. It's the third book in Talia Hibbert's Brown Sister series. I've already read it. It's awesome. It's so good. It's so funny. I think it's my favorite one, which I think I've said after every subsequent book, but it's so great. It's thoughtful. It's funny. It takes place in like the British countryside. Like it's great. So please go pre-order it from Love Sweet Arrow and read, and get all of her other books because it's just, they're so great. My next one, I feel like I'd be remiss if I did not, and I saw this come up in the chat, but Wild Rain by Beverly Jenkins, which Love Sweet Arrow has an event with in a few weeks. Her new book comes out on February 9th, and that's when your event is as well. But yeah, I mean, obviously, Miss Bev is the best. I don't know what else I need to say. We're going to read this book. It's going to be great. And this has been a book, though, that's been a long time coming because the heroine is Spring, who was in Tempest, right? Okay, yep. Great. I'm trying to make sure because I did follow along with like the whole reading thing over the summer. So I'm like, I've got all of them in my brain. And then my final recommendation, this one comes out a little bit further. I have not read it yet, but I'm so excited because I love everything that this author does. But it's called Neon Gods by Katie Roberts. It's a Hades Persephone retelling. I'm a huge fan of Lore Olympus, the webtoon, like anything Hades Persephone, I'm here for it. I'm also here for anything Katie Robert does because she just, whatever it is, she takes it up to an 11. She's awesome. I expect it to be like uncomfortably, but in the best way, uncomfortably sexy because that's how she writes. So those are my three for 2021 from the first half of 2021. So who would like to go next? I'm just going to see who's going to say they want to go next. Okay, Angelina.
So Danielle, it's like Danielle's like your mom's on here and my mom might still be on here. It's like you don't want your moms knowing you read Katie Roberts. Like I read Katie Roberts, but mom, if you read it, don't tell me. So uncomfortable. So what I'm looking forward to in 2020, there is
2021, girl. 2021.
Yeah. 2021. Yeah, God. We're 2011, right? 2020, 2020. Yeah. We don't have no idea. So I think it might have already come out. I think it did. But Nadine Gonzalez's Scandal in the VIP Suite is this really awesome book about just one bed with a writer and a movie star. And he's really hot and really lovely. That is a phenomenal book. I think it came out in 2021. And then also Mona Shroff's Then There Was You. phenomenal. Her first book was just this lovely, like, second chance romance. It was really, really great. I cannot wait to see what she does with the second book, Then There Was You. And then in 2022, we have this super exciting book about a plus size photographer who becomes a boudoir model. And it's one of those things where you're just like, I just wish I had thought of that idea. And I didn't.
Who wrote it?
My fault. But it's this beautiful book by this amazing debut author named Danielle Dresser. Yay! And I know that's not 2021, but oh my God, Danielle, I'm really glad that I get to be in this relationship with you because I get to read it.
Yes.
Early.
For anyone else.
I like how she puts you on the spot right there.
I better get to read it before anyone else does.
I mean, well, I know. Okay, first of all, I love that this conversation is happening, that I talked about a book that was uncomfortably sexy, and my mom is like, your dad's listening. Cool. But yes, you guys, you guys could read it early. I need
Our model photographer. I mean,
Already at Love Hero.
let's please. I just want all the Boozy book broads just raise a glass to our lovely, phenomenal Danielle. And what?
Thank you.
A great.
Love. Yes.
How excited we are, and how jealous we are that we did not think of it ourselves.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Yeah.
Yes, you are welcome. I'm not kidding.
My
I
book,
better read it early.
I mean, I gotta get like some, some revisions from my actual editor. But yeah, you all will get it. You will get it early. Don't worry. But yeah, thank you. I really, it's very exciting. It's a literal dream. It's coming out with Berkeley, which was kind of like my top tier, like the publisher that I was like, oh, what if this happens, so, and it did, and it's really, really fun. In fact, I could say what I learned about myself in 2020 is that if I really I could do it. I set my mind to it. I sat down, I wrote the book, and I got an agent, and I got a book. And my agent, Ashley Herring Blake, is amazing. She fought really, really hard and did a lot of really hard work, and really, helped me a ton. So yeah, so it's fine. Thank you, Angelina. That's really funny. So yes, thank you. I'm all like, ooh, what do I say? I don't know. So who's next? I don't even know. Who wants to go next?
Marissa's next.
Okay.
Oh, before Mom takes all my.
Yeah.
So I would say Big Bad Wolf.
Yeah.
I think this is gonna kind of bring paranormal back in a way. I thought it was very present. Like, this is a great book for right now. Even though it's technically set in a slightly off future kind of a way, like it's present, but her characters say stuff. I'm like, oh, I feel this way right now so much. So I felt like it was a really good book for me to read right now. But yeah, if you like paranormal shapeshifters and stuff like that, but with a little bit of extra sass, I guess, and sexy, I would read that. And we have signed book plates, so you should pre-order it. Also, I read Accidentally Engaged by Farrah Heron. That's kind of got that rom-com feel. So if you like the British baking show, you're going to love this because she does so much cooking and baking in it. So if you like that kind of feel of it and you love reading about food and, doing that kind of show, definitely get it because you will enjoy it. And I was just, when I clicked request and then popped up, I was like, yay! Yeah. I mean, the cover is so bright with that green and that pink. It's just, yeah. So those are my two.
Awesome. Okay, Roseanne, how about you go?
Okay, so Marissa took mine. But there's a new book, Well, see, we share the arc, so but there is a book coming out this summer. It's Too Good to Be Real. I haven't read it yet, but I heard it's really good. So anyway, just a little plug for you, Melanie. But I have read, and it's EO Axelrod, The Girl with Stars in Her Eyes. It's really good. Yes, that's really, really good. So I'm looking forward to that one coming out. That was short and sweet. And I worked on Accidentally Engaged, but Marissa already took that. So
Yeah.
I do have one more. I've been reading, and it's not a romance book, and I'm about 2/3 the way done with it. Quiet in Her Bones by Nalini Singh. It's really good.
Oh yeah, that's her her next thriller, right?
Yes, it's really good.
Awesome. Okay.
And speaking of non-romance, on the top of my list, because she's been a longtime favorite of mine, back when she did write romance, is Karen Marie Moning. The next book in her series is finally coming out. A Kingdom of Shadow and Light is out in February. And I will be getting that. And it's like, I do not love her urban fantasy books the way I loved her Highlander romance books, but I think you fall in love with an author, and so I just will read everything she puts out. I think that my number one most anticipated read is Wild Women and the Blues by Denny Bryce. So I've known Denny, we were Golden Heart Sisters together in 2016, and her book won, I think, that year. And I have been waiting, because she told me all about the concept, and it's, 1920s jazz, and it's set in Chicago, and it kind of flips between time frames. And I have been waiting for this book for years. And I'm so excited for her, and it's a beautiful cover, and I can't wait for that book. So that one comes out in March, and we will have Denny on the Boozy Book Broads. And I got to tell you, there's so many authors I wish we could have on, but we can't, once a month. So, but Denny will be here in March, so that's exciting. March or April, because her book is the end of March. And then two other books I'm looking forward to, and I'll hurry up here. It's Anne of Manhattan by Brina Starler, and it is Anne of Green Gables in modern times in New York. And then last but not least, at the end of the year in October, The Brightest Star in Paris by Diana Biller, who was on with us in October for The Widow of Rose House. So it's her next book. She talked about it a little bit when she was on with us, set in Paris. So ghosts and Paris and ballet. And Diana, I'm there.
Yeah. Is it the family? Is it the same family?
I think so, yeah. I think this is the next book in the series. Yeah, I'm not sure. Don't hold me to that. Yeah. I don't care what it is. It's Diana writing it.
It's so good. It's so good. Yeah.
Yeah, I love it. Okay, so let's go through. So I thought we could talk about New Year's resolutions, but I don't really want to.
So let's just skip over that part.
I'm gonna not even talk about it.
It's so long. This is the longest.
Yeah. Your resolution for 2021 is to survive and make it out at the end. No literally, everyone, good luck. No, I mean, we're gonna make it through. It's gonna be amazing. So let's move on to our nightcap. This is the end of the end of the show, kind of the breakdown, where we finish things up. So Room Mom Melanie, are there any questions or anything from the audience that you would like to pose for us?
So yes, I try to slip in most of the questions as they came up, but very early on in the chat, someone had a question for us for the readers, and let me find it now because it's way up there. Gotta find a way that I can highlight these questions. Basically, she wanted to ask the authors, she's heard that authors are encouraged not to read because it will affect their writing in some way. What do you think of that? What is your opinion on that?
Nobody's ever encouraged us not to read. I find it difficult to read as an author because it does affect what I'm writing, but nobody's ever encouraged me not to read.
Yeah.
Not my agent, not my editor, nobody ever.
So I think you might know the person who asked this question, Angelina. Her name is Celeste.
My mom.
Do you find that
we'll just have a private text later? I'll be like, no. just is going by me because I have a really hard
So I don't
That
feel the
question
same
is
way
based on-
either.
I have
I
a
think
really
I
hard
have
time.
heard, but to be fair to Angelina's mom, I have heard that conversation.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I have a hard time reading while I'm writing. So maybe that's what led that question. And she knows. But that's my mommy. I just want to say that if you're a romance writer and your mom like is 100% behind what you're doing, it is the best thing ever because there's a lot of writers, their moms are not behind what they're doing. And when your mom is like a huge fan and like promotes you on her social media and like literally like hand sells your books to friends, that's a plus.
I love that. That's awesome. I love that moms are in the chat.
Yeah, me too.
Okay. So any other questions? Anything?
No, we had some great conversation in the chat. So thank you if you have been participating today, that you kind of chatted with us by, text, because I've been reading as your room mom. And as your room mom, I have a gift card for one of you. So there's no fancy way to do this. I'm just going to close my eyes and just point and put my finger on the chat. And the winner is, it's Cheryl Jackson. Is that your mom?
Yeah.
Yay!
Yeah.
That was not on purpose.
That's amazing.
It's a show where we just give shit to our moms.
So Cheryl Jackson won this time, but next time if she can't get picked again, that's my rule. So,
and never pick Les Gantz because that's my mom.
So in 2021, with each of us rotating, kind of taking charge of the chat, each of us will be taking turns awarding the gift card. So yeah. But it's my turn this time. So Danielle's mom, you're welcome.
Okay, so Roseanne and Marissa, is there anything at the store coming up in the next few weeks that you guys want to talk about before we sign off?
Well, we do have Destination Romance that's coming up. What's the exact date, Melanie?
It's a week from today. It's next Friday night, the 22nd, same time, same bad channel, 7 p.m. It's just a little fun thing. This is like the thing. So if you as an author want to do an event and you can't email her, Roseanne and Marissa, email me and I'll probably put something together because I can't help myself. So it's a group. So we have Angie Hockman with Shipped and Sarah Morgenthaler with Enjoy the View, and Anne Marie Walker with the single person day. Happy Single Day. That's it. And and Priscilla Oliveris with her Keys to Paradise series. So it's a bunch of books about getting to escape and going on a armchair tourism mental vacation. And I'm going to drop this here. I'm moderating it, but I'm going to be giving away one of my ARCs that just arrived. So I will be giving away an advanced reader copy of Too Good to Be Real during that chat next week.
Yeah.
Nice.
Someone wants to know if I know the answer to this. Anne Marie did come in and sign books at the store. She posted about it, I think, on Instagram and Facebook. So her books will be signed copies. Anything else?
Yes.
I mean, obviously I dropped in that Miss Bev will be on with Jen from Fated Mates on February 9th. So I mean, that's awesome too.
And we still have, I think, about 20 signed copies available.
Awesome.
I have yet to add them because I did want to oversell an accident, like we have accidentally done before. So I just added 20. And then we had probably like 5 that had already been sold, but there's still at least 20 more. So feel free to purchase your signed copy of Wild Rain. So yay!
Yes.
Amazing.
And there might be something coming up with Salika Snyder soon.
Yes.
Oh,
getting arranged, but as soon as it happens, we will let everyone know.
Yes.
But it's gonna be like a paranormal kind of night.
Ooh, that'll be fun.
Definitely. Yeah. All right. Well,
Well, yeah, I want to say this was such a fun. I have about, I'm going to pour a tiny bit so we can cheers a little bit before we go. But this was a really fun way to kick off 2021, talking about books and everything and rehashing the year. I'm really excited. I'm looking forward to the rest of this year. Melanie has gone above and beyond and has pretty much scheduled the entire year of Boozy Book Club. We'll be here every Friday. Even if the world opens up again, we're going to be here. So
the third Friday of every month.
Yeah, third Friday of every month. We have some really great guests. We are really excited. We're so happy that you guys take some time out to spend with us. We are so happy to be here. So cheers, everyone, to 2021. This has been so much fun. We'll be here next month with Naima Simone. It's going to be great. So we'll see you all then. And yeah, have a great weekend, everyone. Cheers.
Cheers.
Right. I think Martha, you've got to end it. I do not have control. Sorry.
Hold on. How about I do this?
Yes. Okay, there we go. I think. There we go. Okay, bye everyone.